Welcome back to Your Hour. Joining me now is Kimberly McDowell, who's here representing Mrs. Kansas International.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's always fun to have you here.
Yes, we love you. So.
So tell me about Mrs. Kansas International. When did that occur?
Sure. There's actually not a state pageant because there's no state director. So what happens is if you're interested in competing and representing Kansas, you submit an application and you go through a very extensive application and interview process. Mm-hmm. And the International Pageant System has a selection committee that reviews all of that material and then selects the woman that they would like to represent that state.
Okay.
So that's how that happened. And I was awarded the title in late November.
Okay. So what are your duties?
The greatest thing about this system is it is a platform-based system, so it encourages and celebrates women who are out doing things in their communities. So my duty is to do what I already do.
Yeah.
It's celebration of married women, of motherhood if you're a mother, and then for me, it's all about continuing to do the work that I do with Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Mm-hmm. And so this just gives me, I think, an extra avenue to do that work with.
So tell me, I know that you do a number of fundraisers for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Can you tell me about some of those?
Sure, absolutely. I have had the opportunity to be involved in some amazing things that not only raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, but that also raise awareness through increased volunteerism and then provide educational opportunities. The two that I can think of off the top of my head that have the most meaning to me are Shockerthon, which is the WSU's dance marathon. I was one of the founding faculty members of that. It started 3 or 4 years ago at Wichita State. And that is such a prideful moment for me because it's students at the university doing the fundraising, doing the solicitation of sponsorships, and we have moved from raising $20-some thousand to this past year we raised over $75,000.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Which is amazing. And as a faculty member, I'm just like, we're in good hands. We're going to be in good shape when it comes to these students leading the next generation. And then the most fun one that I can think of is Models for Miracles, and we have visited about that one before, but it's basically, I call it a leadership development, mentorship, and PR marketing class wrapped up in a fashion show bow, because it is a fashion show that raises money for local Children's Miracle Network hospitals, but it's so much more than that. We have a teen ambassador positions, we have a teen advisory board, we now have a collegiate advisory board, so we are growing future leaders and future givers by having them work in recruiting and promoting and raising money and then producing this fashion show. We started here in Wichita in 2009. We had our first show in 2011. And over the course of the 4 years, we have grown substantially. This year, we are actually having 10 different shows in 7 different states.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And I just got emails for Ohio and Wisconsin would like a show as well. So I think that it's a fun way to raise money. It's a fun way to engage teens and young adults in community service.
Well, because the models are regular people.
Right. And so you don't have to be a 6 foot size 2 gorgeous girl. You can be an everyday person who wants to do something good for your community, and you can raise some money and you get to be in our show and wear a fun outfit and it's interesting. Megan and I, my daughter and I have visited about when we approach people and we're like, you should model for us, and they'll be like, no, I'm not model material. Yes, you are. You are perfect for our show. We want everybody. So we're fully inclusive. We've had, we have a little girl named Hannah who has walked on the runway with her walker. We have some the Bush children who have hearing aids, bilateral hearing aids. So it's fully inclusive of everybody and anybody who wants to participate.
I think that's very cool. I like the idea of Models for Miracles. I just always have thought that was a really great idea.
Thank you. We're excited. To date, we've raised over $65,000.
Cool.
Just from our little fashion shows that started here in Wichita. So it's exciting.
So you are a PhD.
I am, yes.
Now, what's your degree in?
Sure. My PhD is in communication disorders and sciences. So by trade, I'm a speech pathologist.
Okay.
I'm a former kindergarten teacher. And this is kind of where some of my being drawn to children who need extra help comes from working with children with exceptionalities in schools. And then our son Cody, who's now 11, was born preterm. We were a NICU family, and that's kind of where our connection with Children's Miracle Network hospitals started. Oftentimes I think people think when you are discharged from the NICU that, and I'm guilty of this, that, oh, we're past that, it's all good now. And sometimes kids who are born earlier who start off with some bumps in the road continue to face a few bumps in the road as they age, and we deal with anxiety, some mild Tourette's. So I would say my entire adult life has been dedicated to helping kids who are sick or injured.
That gives you a lot of empathy when you see that, because you've been through a similar circumstance yourself.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, I think that's commendable. So the pageantry it's not just Mrs. Kansas. What all do you have?
Sure. Well, the international system has 3 different divisions.
Okay.
So we have a Mrs. division, which is the one that I'm part of, and it's for women who are married, who are 21 to 56. It's an international system, so when I travel to Jacksonville this summer in July, I will get to meet and interact with women from all over the world, which is very exciting.
It'll be fun.
Yes, yeah, and they're all women like me who are very passionate about things that they're doing in their community, and I think it's going to be a very empowering, uplifting experience. We also have a Miss division, and then we have a teen division, and my daughter, Megan, is Miss Teen Kansas, and I think it speaks volumes to the quality of a system if a mother is willing to put her daughter in it. I think
good point.
I have very good feelings about this in terms of what it represents and what it promotes.
Well, your daughter is very poised.
Thank you.
And very charming. So
Thank you.
I really enjoyed meeting her.
I'm very proud of her.
Well, you should be.
Thank you.
Well, I think she's proud of you as well. So, so what's next on your agenda?
Well, actually, tomorrow Megan and I are leaving for Europe, and it started off as a trip to just go as part of her high school journey. She's a senior this year, and we started researching. Okay, well, can we do any service while we're over there? And we are actually getting the opportunity to go and interact with children at the Children's Hospital in Munich.
Oh, nice.
So that will be very exciting. And then we have a couple fashion shows coming up. We have New Jersey's coming up in April, and then we have one in Florida and one in New York in May. And May is a big month for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. In fact, here in Wichita, we have the Splash Dash, which is a 5K with a twist. Last year was the first year they had it, and it's you run a little bit, and then you learn a little bit of a dance, and kids can swim and run through sprinklers, and then you run a little bit more, and it's a fundraiser for the local hospital here, which is Via Christi. And then in end of May, I'm going to relax a little bit, because then we start back up. We have a show in Colorado in June, and lots of travel in between there. So.
Well, I'm glad that you could carve out a few minutes to come talk to us.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And to Megan.
Yes, thank you very much.
And we'll be back with more Your Hour, so stay with us.